So what's going on YouTube? This is Lewis coming from Squeaky Clean Commercial Cleaning Company here in Columbia, South Carolina. And I wanted to drop this video to kind of speak on something that happened to me during my journey in starting this cleaning company. And I'm not sure if a lot of you really know my story, but what I'll do is I'll go ahead and kind of start it off in the beginning. And what I'll do is as I progress on, I'm gonna kind of get to how I was able to make, it says $30,000 in a month, but it was actually over that, over $30,000 in a month. So we'll start here. So for those of you that do not know, I recently retired from the military about a year ago. And what I did was, right before I got out of the military, I decided I wanted to do something to keep me from actually staying at home. And I knew that I've always wanted to start a business. So what happened was that I started doing some research online, trying to figure out what kind of business can I start up. Didn't really need a whole lot of startup money, and then kind of progress on. The luxury that I had being in the military and transitioning out was I was still working and still bringing in income. So I still had a 9 to 5 per se while I was starting my cleaning company, which is, if you guys are in that boat or in that state where you still have a 9 to 5 job and you're trying to start your business, I recommend keeping your business going as long as you can to have that extra income that you don't have to kind of bank on or throw all your cards in and saying this has to work right now. So you start taking risks and stuff that you really don't need to. And in essence, you can kind of gradually grow your business and not be so prone or so, I guess I can use the word thirsty to take any and every job that you get. And when you do that, you end up taking jobs that really aren't good jobs for you. It doesn't help progress and improve your business and your experience and stuff like that. And you end up taking jobs that you're losing money more so than winning money. So if you can keep your job, make sure you do that. So to finish on with the story, I started the business relatively a year before I actually retired. And so when I started the business, I was looking, well, actually before I started the business, I was looking up videos and I came across this young man. His name AJ Simmons. He runs Clean Biz Network. So if you want to actually kind of get like all the information, anything from A to Z that you need to know about starting a cleaning business or even just a business as a whole, this young man, AJ Simmons, is the way to go with Clean Biz Network. So make sure you check him out. But that's where I got my information from. And I was looking at other people at the same time, but he's the one that kind of just stuck with it because he was so real. And it wasn't like these people that have already made millions and millions of dollars and now they're just trying to get money from you. He was actually spitting out the game. He was giving you the jewels. He was giving you the gems. He was giving you the cheat codes. He was giving you everything. So I got to a point where, okay, I can really rock with this dude. He knows what he's talking about and he's not trying to jip us. He's not trying to cheat you. He's giving you information that really anybody can find themselves, but we have become such a microwave society where we want people to give us the information as opposed to doing the research. I'm the type of person that I was doing the research, but I lucked up and came across in my research somebody that was giving me the answers that I needed. And a lot of the other groups weren't really doing that. They were kind of, teeter-totting around the answers, like they were trying to keep you from getting all the information as opposed to as if you were trying to get the information and taking the money from them. And it really didn't make sense to me. Why not share the information if you have it? So I started the business, decided to start a cleaning business. And then what happened was, right before, as a matter of fact, it was right as soon as I retired. I retired in September and I kind of got out a little bit before that. So I started working and I was still starting my business, getting one account at a time. I had an apartment complex and so forth. And that was kind of just bringing in the money and I was building it and building and building. So what ended up happening is I heard a lot of other people say, but also AJ say, invest in your business, invest in yourself. So what I did was I started looking into ways that I can get accounts other than, because you can go cold calling, you can go door to door, you can do email, advertising, social media. There's a lot of different things that you can do out there. I'm sorry, it's hot in here. Thought my fan was on. But there's a lot of different things that you can do to kind of get your name out there and to also to get accounts and stuff like that. So I started doing stuff like that. And I know a lot of us aren't really people, I won't say people where you like to actually talk and you feel comfortable about talking. I was never that type of person, but being in the military and being in the jobs that I was in, it required me to talk to people. So I kind of got comfortable doing it, but I really didn't like the whole, just the time consuming part of it. So I tried to figure out ways that I can actually get accounts without actually having to do the door to door and the cold calling. So what I did was I went to look at some of the lead generation type businesses, and the number one that you should do that I didn't do at the time is AJ's lead generation service. And if you need help with that, I'm gonna put that link below in the description. So make sure you, if you're one of those people that don't really feel comfortable yet, just actually going door to door, calling people and feeling, you don't like rejection on the phone calls with them saying, no, we have a cleaner. In the lead generation service, the difference in this lead generation service is that you get appointments as opposed to leads that are given to any and everybody. So you have an appointment that is specific just for you, specific to the time that you kind of set and kind of in the area that you want it for the most part. So that's the difference in this lead generation as opposed to the other ones where they will give you the appointment or they will give you the name of the people, but they'll also give it to other people. And now you have to race to kind of get that account before anybody else. And then you end up bidding against somebody else, lowballing yourself and then actually not making money. So I didn't go that direction. What I did was there was I guess it wasn't really a lead generation, but it's something similar to Home Advisor, Thumbtack, and all that other stuff, and it's called Bark. So what happened is that during the pandemic, I put my information in Bark, got a profile and all that good stuff, and we can kind of talk about that in another video on how to do that if that's something you want to do. But what happened is that I actually got called during the disinfection kind of wave where everything was closing down. People were trying to figure out how can they open up quickly, how can they kind of fight this pandemic that's going on and still stay in business. So I had gotten a call from a pastor of a church, and this church was in the next town over, and it was not far, less than an hour. It was about an hour from me. So what happened is that I went there, and I had already done my research. I was already researching disinfection services. I was researching the procedures, the processes that other people was using, and I was trying to formulate it to make it make sense and to also be able to educate anybody that was going to be my client or my customer. The one thing that you want to make sure that you're doing, even if you don't actually get the account or get the job or whatever, you want to make sure that you are actually educating the people in what they need and what they don't need, as opposed to just trying to get the money from them. Because what happens is, in the end, they remember that you were actually not somebody that was there to just try to get money, but you were trying to solve their pain points and make life a little bit easier for them. So it's one thing they can take off their checklist of things that they had to do, take one thing that's on their back of what needs to be accomplished, and you can make them feel at comfort or feel comfortable knowing that they got the right person for the job. And even if you don't get the job, they're going to remember you because thousands of people have cleaning companies. So what makes you different than any of the other cleaning companies? It's not that you have a cool logo. It's not that you have an awesome slogan or anything like that. It's not that you clean any better than anybody else. It's you. What it is your personality, what you bring to the table, and the comfortability that they have talking to you and knowing that you can solve their problem. And also, if you can't solve their problem or you're not perfect at solving their problem, that you're the type of person that is willing to fix whatever issue it is without complaints, without any pushback. One of the accounts that I did eventually get, I got because I was so willing to fix any issues that my cleaners had or that my cleaners did or that I did, that they loved the fact that at the drop of a dime, if there was something wrong, I personally would go out there and fix it myself. Now, I'm not saying you need to do that, but I would go out there and do that because that way they knew that if there's anything wrong, they're comfortable or they're confident in knowing that I'm going to fix it so that they're satisfied, because the goal is to make the customer satisfied, because that customer is going to give you more referrals. So I kind of went on a tangent, but what happened is that I got the church to give me a walkthrough. I went to the church, did a walkthrough, and they had other people come in that wanted to do the disinfection service for them. But remember, in the beginning of this whole spiel, I said you want to make sure that you educate your clients, your potential clients. So what I did was I actually sat down with them and I told them, this is what needs to be done. This doesn't need to be done. This is how I'm going to do it. And this is how it's going to solve your problem. This is how it's going to solve your pain point. So in doing that, even though there was somebody that bid it a whole lot lower than I did, they got me for the job. Now, I'm not saying that to brag, but I'm saying that to let you know that even though there are other people out there in the cleaning business doing the same thing that you're doing, the only competition that you have is with yourself. Compete with yourself every day and don't worry about what other people are doing, so that you never feel that you have to kind of run a race that's being led by somebody else. You're running your own race, and this race is not a sprint, it's a marathon. You take your time, you hone in on your skills, your crafts, your systems, your procedures, your processes, and all of that stuff. And you keep fine tuning them as you go through. And as you do that, you're gonna get to the point where you're actually at the point that you want to be. You're actually in a stage or a state that your business is running on its own, and it's running just as smoothly as as you actually envisioned it in the beginning. So when I got this, So when I got this church, what happened at that point was he told his presiding elder what I was doing for their church. One thing that people did not realize during this pandemic, when all the churches closed, is that they had weekly meetings with all the people in each district and section and region. And what he did was he passed that information on to people that were in his district and to the leadership that was in their district. So when they did that, they decided that since I had done such a good job with explaining what needed to be done, because I knew that during that time frame there were going to be a lot of companies out there, and I hate to say it, but they were kind of boosting up the prices on this disinfection when it really didn't need to be, because a lot of people were trying to get rich off of one job as opposed to building and building and building and stacking and stacking and stacking. So they try to get rich off of one person when they really didn't have to do that. So my job was to make sure that the churches specifically didn't get taken advantage of as much as I could do. So they decided to tell everybody within their district, everybody within their region. So I ended up being contracted to do over about 70, 80 churches in this area. And it's still going on right now. And the pandemic is not over, but it's still, it's kind of on a more even, or it's a not so high end where people are paranoid. So I think that the main thing that really got me to the point where I was able to make such a large amount of money in a short period of time, and I'm just snapshotting 1 month. This has been going on the entire year. Not quite that high, but this has been going on the entire year. And I'm saying this because I want you to realize that it's not about trying to get that one account and make all your money in one shot. You have to be able to build, because this career, this entrepreneur life has to be to a point where you're constantly growing and building, so that your company is not kind of stagnant, and you have to be in a position where you're able to pivot your business no matter what happens. So we were able to get to a point where we were able to get churches that we never even advertised to, because of word of mouth, because in the beginning I educated the client. I told them what they needed, and I told them what they didn't need. They trusted us, and they believed that we were the people to be able to solve their pain points, to solve their problems, and to be able to get them to the point where they felt comfortable. In doing so, we were able to take care of every church in the district. We're still working on the region, and we're still pressing forward. What I want you to realize is that as you continue to press on, continue to perfect your systems, perfect your procedures, your processes, and all that stuff, and make sure that your ultimate goal is to satisfy the customer. And in satisfying the customer, you're going to continue to build your brand, you're going to continue to build your business, and you're going to continue to build your experience. Now, there are a lot of things that you can do to kind of speed up that process. A lot of times when people are first coming into this business, it's a lot of information that's out there and they feel that they have to master it. I am number one for that. I always felt that I wasn't going to do anything until I actually had it mastered. But you don't. The best thing to do is when you get some information, take action. And whether it works or not, you're still going to be successful as long as you don't quit. The only failure is the person that quits. As long as you keep moving forward, you keep making adjustments, and you keep progressing on, you're going to be successful in this business or anything that you try to achieve. The